Will the House please come to order and members kindly take their seats? Good afternoon. The devotional today will be led by Representative Ella Chapin of East Montpelier.
Good afternoon. Today, I offer an artful poem as a way to thoughtfully start our session, and also in memory of a dear friend, Nathan Suter, whose life we will celebrate and remember today with the reading of a resolution. This poem is called What We Carry by National Youth Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman. As kids, we sat in grass, fished our hands into the dirt. We felt that damp brown universe writhe, alert and alive, earth cupped in the boat of our palms. Our eyes waxed wide with wonder. Children understand. Even grime is a gift. Even what is mired is miraculous. What is marred is still marvelous. Ark, a boat, like that which preserved Noah's family and animals from the flood. The word comes from the Latin word arca, meaning chest, much like the Latin word arcere, to close up, defend, or contain. Ark can also mean the traditional place in a synagogue for the scrolls of the Torah. That is to say, we put words in the ark. Where else to put them? We continue speaking, writing, hoping, living, loving, fighting. That is to say, we believe beyond disaster. Even endings end. At the lip of land, time arcs into itself. It is not a repeat, but a reckoning. Days can't help but walk two by two, the past and present, paired and paralleled. It is the future we save from ourselves, for ourselves. Words matter. For language is an ark. Yes, language is an art, an articulate artifact. Language is a life craft. Yes, language is a life raft. We have recalled how to touch each other and how to trust all that is good and all right. We have learned our true names, not what we are called, but what we are called to carry forth from here. What do we carry, if not what and who we care most for? What are we, if not the price of light? Loss is the cost of loving, a debt more than worth every pulse and pull. We know this because we have decided to remember. The truth is, one globe, wonder flawed. Here's to the preservation of a light so terrific. The truth is, there is joy in discarding almost everything. Our rage, our wreckage, our hubris, our hate, our ghosts, our greed, our wrath, our wars on the beating shore. We haven't any haven for them here. Rejoice, for what we have left behind will not free us, but what we have left is all we need. We are enough, armed only with our hands, open but unemptied, just like a blooming thing. We walk into tomorrow carrying nothing but the world.
Members, we have one House bill for introduction today. House Bill 910 is an act relating to supporting business growth and development in the state, introduced by Representative Duke of Burlington. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
H 910, an act relating to supporting business growth and development in the state.
Now the bill's been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Commerce and Economic Development. We also have one Senate bill for referral today. Senate Bill 218 is an act relating to reducing chloride contamination of state waters, introduced by Senator Watson. Please listen to the first reading of the bill.
S 218, an act relating to reducing chloride contamination in state waters.
Now the bill has been read the first time and is referred to the Committee on Environment. Members, two of the bills on our notice calendar require referral to a money committee pursuant to House Rule 35A. The first is House Bill 567, which is an act relating to unclaimed property, state retirement systems, and capital debt. Carrying an appropriation, the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriations. And the second is House Bill 588, which is an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation, affecting the revenue of the state. The bill is referred to the Committee on Ways and Means. Members, in addition, earlier today, the Committee on Ways and Means reported favorably on House Bill 578, which is an act relating to penalties and procedures for animal cruelty offenses. Carrying an appropriation, the bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriations pursuant to House Rule 35A, pending its entry on the notice calendar. We have received a request today to read a House concurrent resolution that the House and Senate adopted pursuant to the consent calendar. HCR 200 is a House concurrent resolution celebrating the life of Nathan Suter of Montpelier. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Whereas adventurous, attentive, engaging, and welcoming all describe the amazing Nathan Suter, whose life was sadly abbreviated. And whereas born in the Panama Canal Zone, Nathan Suter grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York, developing his prowess as a long-distance runner. And whereas at Haverford College, he captained the cross-country track and field team and earned a fine arts degree in photography, and he subsequently graduated with a master's degree from San Francisco Art Institute. And whereas in 2002 in San Francisco, he co-founded Root Division, which offers subsidized studios to artists in exchange for teaching or curating art exhibits. And whereas several years after his 2001 marriage to Vermonter and now Montpelier Union Elementary School teacher Morgan Lloyd, the couple moved to the Green Mountain State, where they raised their children, Amani and Asa, in Stowe. In Stowe, Nathan Suter served for a decade as an executive director of what is now known as The Current, an art center. And whereas his curatorship was bold and daring and gave The Current a reputation for artistic innovation and excellence, and included nurturing and expanding the educational program to serve more than 500 students. And whereas in 2016, Nathan Suter decided to venture into a new career as an organizational management consultant, establishing his own firm, which he creatively named Build. And whereas a passion for community engagement and social activism led to a long-term board service at Migrant Justice and the Peace and Justice Center, and he played a pivotal role on the Montpelier Commission for Recovery and Resilience, which was formed after the devastating 2023 flood. And whereas his contribution to the youth of Montpelier as a respected and popular track and field coach, first at Main Street Middle School and more recently at Montpelier High School, helped rejuvenate a small program into a highly popular school activity. And whereas the sudden death of Nathan Suter at 52 years of age on May 13th, 2025, while running, saddened the Montpelier community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the General Assembly celebrates the life of Nathan Suter of Montpelier. And be it further resolved that the Secretary of State be directed to send a copy of this resolution to the family of Nathan Suter, Montpelier High School, and the Montpelier Commission for Recovery and Resilience, Migrant Justice, the Peace and Justice Center, and The Current.
Are there any announcements? Member from Montpelier.
Madam Speaker, last spring we lost a beloved community member in Nathan Suter. When someone passes, we honor their memory, but a resolution almost doesn't seem sufficient. He was a man who radiated goodness. He was a father. He was a husband. He was a coach and mentor. You would never see him when he wasn't running down the streets in Montpelier with 20 kids with him. And I think he was always running someplace. It's how much he got so much done, and it was too short a life. He was an advocate for migrant justice, as you heard. And I remember the last school board meeting we were at, Nathan signed up for public comment, and he faced the school board, but then he turned the chair and faced all of us legislators in the crowd and told us what he thought. He said, you're the ones we need to be speaking to. I think how I most remember Nathan was he was such a bright light during the darkest days in Montpelier, during the floods, and he lifted us out of those waters, both literally and metaphorically in many ways. You'd see him in every basement slinging out couches just to help his neighbors at their lowest time. And when the water receded, his job wasn't done, and he was a real champion on the Flood Commission, where he really made it a point to ensure this never happened to his community again. Madam Speaker, he was such a rare man, and so many people loved him so much. I just think he was the best of us here in Montpelier, and it was a life that was far too short, but we'll endeavor to honor his memory by following his mission. And today in the audience, we have a couple of family members of Nathan's. Galen, his sister-in-law, and her husband, Steve Perkinson. And if you look around, we have a ton of people who just loved Nathan through his work with the Flood Commission and other volunteer activities. So I hope you would welcome them to the chamber today.
Will the guest of the member from Montpelier please rise and be recognized? Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, at this morning's floor session, we heard wonderful remarks given with respect to the Adjutant General, Major General Gregory Knight. I move that the remarks of the member from Vergennes, the member from Dover, and the member from Berkshire be journalized.
The member from Poultney moves that we journalize the remarks of the members from Vergennes, Dover, and Berkshire. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have journalized the remarks of the member from Vergennes, Dover, and Berkshire. Member from Starksboro.
Madam Speaker, in the State House today, we have representatives of Vermont Interfaith Action and Vermont Interfaith Power and Light. These are grassroots organizations of individuals and communities of diverse faiths throughout Vermont. They are collaboratively dedicated to advancing justice, equity, and human dignity, including the viability of the earth on which we live. Vermont Interfaith Action and Vermont Interfaith Power and Light are hosting an Earth Vigil at 4:30 today outside on the State House steps, and they hope that folks will be able to participate in this important event. Madam Speaker, I ask that this body recognize and acknowledge the members of these organizations who are seated in the gallery.
Will the guest of the member from Starksboro please rise and be recognized? Are there any further announcements? Member from Wolcott.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Rare Disease Days is officially observed on February 28th, the final day of the month. And we are recognizing it a bit early here at the State House to raise awareness. While rare diseases may be individually uncommon, together they affect 1 in 10 Americans, including thousands of Vermonters and their families. In the first half of the biennium, this body passed H46 to establish a Rare Disease Advisory Council within the Department of Health, an important step towards elevating the voices of patients, caregivers, and in our policymaking to ensure Vermonters have access to guidance, information, and support. This afternoon from 4 to 6 in the cafeteria, Vermont advocates and families, in partnership with the National Organization of Rare Disorders, will host an informal ice cream social. I encourage members to stop by, meet constituents living with rare diseases, and learn from their experiences. For many families, including my own, this is deeply personal. My nephew Nicholas passed away at age 11 from Batten's disease, a rare genetic disorder that affects the brain. Though there is not yet a cure, research in gene therapy trials continue to offer hope, not only for other rare diseases, but for conditions that affect people later in life. Thank you. They are seated in the gallery behind me.
Will the guest member from Wolcott please rise and be recognized? Member from Thetford.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, February 19th, is the anniversary of the day when Franklin Roosevelt signed an order that caused thousands of Japanese Americans to be incarcerated, I'll call it incarcerated, in camps in the Western United States. There were several of these camps, and the Japanese were housed in hastily constructed buildings with basically tar paper on the walls and shoddy roofs and not much heat. They were intolerably hot in the summertime, some of them, and miserably cold in the winter. There were three ways the Japanese could get out of those camps. One is that men of military age could join the U.S. Army and fight in Europe. And as some of you may know, the most highly decorated unit was a Japanese-American unit in Germany. Young women of a similar age could become nurses and serve east of the Mississippi. And in some cases, families who could find a sponsor could travel to the East Coast and work as basically domestic servants and whatnot, and live out the war in those circumstances. The reason that's pertinent to me, Madam Speaker, is that my mother, died when I was an infant. And my grandparents were able to sponsor a Japanese-American family named Okamoto, who traveled to the Philadelphia area and looked after me and my sister for a period of time. They became essentially surrogate parents, and Esther and Kiyomi were our sisters. So it turns out, Madam Speaker, that while my Nana ostensibly took care of Joanne and me for a period of time, it was the Okamotos who looked after us. And in practical terms, Madam Speaker, they saved my life. I'd just like you all to know how we look upon how we treat Americans in this country who run afoul of one thing or another. In some circumstances, as we know in Minnesota, things work out horribly, horribly badly. Once in a while, though, Madam Speaker, things work out for the best. I just wanted you to know that. You all have a good day. Thank you.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Waitsfield.
Madam Speaker, this afternoon at 4:30 to 5:30 in room 44 will be the second in a series of meetings regarding education reform. And we will have representatives from Ways and Means and Education to share an update, as well as a member from the Joint Fiscal Office and from Legislative Council. And anyone is welcome to attend.
Are there any further announcements? Member from Winooski.
Madam Speaker, I just want to offer a reminder that on Monday, March 16th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., there will be a special mental health first aid class for legislators only, and I'll resend a reminder to register for that.
Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, orders of the day. Members, we have one bill on our action calendar today. House Bill 710 is an act relating to defining electricity generating facilities. Please listen to the third reading of the bill.
H 710, an act relating to defining electricity generating facilities.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and you have passed the bill. Members, that completes the orders of the day. Are there any announcements? Seeing none, member from Poultney, can you please offer us a motion to adjourn until Friday, February 20th at 9:30 a.m.?
Madam Speaker, I make a motion this body stand in adjournment until Friday, February 20th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m.
You have heard the motion. Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and this body stands in adjournment until tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.